What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be doing a tier list of the best linebackers right now in college football 25 Ultimate Team. Now, we're going to be ranking all of the linebackers that are 92 overall or above. So we've got a lot of guys to get through. So basically this video will be a little bit quicker. However, we do have a lot of guys to go through and rank. Now, as we do dive into it, please smash that subscribe button if you are new. Really do appreciate all of the recent support. Now, because I'm unfamiliar with a lot of these linebackers, I'm going to have to pull them up with you guys and talk about them. First guy here is Donald Willis, 6'2" outside linebacker from Western Michigan, 91 speed, 89 acceleration, change of direction stat is good. Zone coverage at a 93 is good. You know what type of linebacker he is going to be. You know, his obviously getting after the quarterback stats are not good, so he's not going to be a good pass rusher. As far as playing the run, I'm trying to see the 83 block shed is not good, but he's fast and he's good in pass coverage. And so he is such a weird outside linebacker. I am going to throw him at D tier because I just think that block shed is too low. Look, you don't have to get after the quarterback. You can drop into coverage, but if your block shed is low, it really is tough. Melvin Jordan up next. Here from Oregon State, I do believe. 90 speed, 93 acceleration, 97 finesse moves. Incredible. Gonna get after the quarterback. Good block shed. Can't really drop into zone coverage that well, but he is gonna get after the quarterback. I do still think C tier is probably the right spot for Jordan. Next up, we've got, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, from Boise. I don't think I love this card. When he came out, I said I didn't necessarily love him. Marco from Boise, 6'3", good height, middle linebacker, 89 speed, 93 block shed is solid, good in zone coverage, good tackler, good change of direction. I mean, the card isn't actually that bad. Like, if you're looking at him, he's not that bad. He's just not as fast as I would really like. I think speed is the most important stat to look at here, and Marco just is not as fast as I would want. So B tier probably is the right spot. Campbell up next from Alabama. Let's see what this card gets into. Again, a lot of these cards I don't have memorized because we've just got so many outside linebackers. 87 speed, 88 acceleration, doesn't get after the quarterback. Block shed's bad. Coverage-wise, he's fine, but he still only has 78 change of direction. This card is trash. I'm honestly throwing him at F tier. What does he do? You can say, oh, well, Ty, he drops into coverage. Sure, but he has a 78 change of direction. I'm good on that. Thank you. Bryce Boettcher up next. Is he A tier or is he S tier? I think right now I'm going to throw him at S tier because when I talk about his stats, you guys are going to see and realize how good this card is. And if he's still your middle linebacker, you're fine. 91 speed, 90 acceleration, 90 change of direction, 94 block shed, good in zone coverage, 6'2". There's just no flaws in the card. Do I wish maybe he was slightly faster? Sure, that could be your one complaint about Bryce, but he's decently tall. He is going to be able to play zone coverage, man coverage at a pretty high level. I like what Bryce gives you on the field. I'm going S tier. Grayson Howard up next. I think C tier probably is the right spot for Howard. A while ago, a month or two ago, this card was really good. 88 speed obviously isn't ideal. Acceleration isn't ideal. But why do I like Grayson Howard? Well, change of direction's good. Block shed is good. And he drops into coverage really solid with being 6'4". And so you got to talk about him, and is, he worth picking up? Well, I think for the card, the pros do outweigh the cons, genuinely, for Grayson Howard. So that's where I'm at with him. Again, do I wish his speed was a little bit higher? Sure. But at 6'4", with decent change direction, good zone coverage, I think the card needs to be talked about at a pretty high level. The new Bryant card up next is a weird card. Like, if you compare him to the other card at S tier, the Boettcher card, Bryant, a little bit quicker on the field, little better acceleration, change of direction's good, zone coverage is fantastic. All of those stats I think are better than Bryce's. He even has, a decent block shed at an 89, not great, but he is only 6 feet tall. And so it's such a weird situation. What matters to you on the field? Does speed matter? Does block shed matter? Does height matter? Does, that zone coverage change direction stat matter more? Like I said, it's just such a weird predicament here because I don't even know who I like more between Bryant and Bryce. I do think both cards do deserve S tier for now, though. Jaden Osbury up next. Again, he's not a card that I really think that highly of for a 96 overall. Again, he's a 96 overall, 90 speed, 89 acceleration, change directions good, zone coverage good, block shed's good, and he gets after the quarterback. As I'm really looking at the card, I know I said he wasn't that good. I do wish he was faster. That's the only complaint I can have, though, on him. You know, I feel like when I first looked at the card, that was my big complaint, is that he just wasn't a little bit faster and that the acceleration wasn't a little bit better either. But when you look at the rest of the stats, like, the card actually is pretty solid in Osbury. I think A tier probably is the right tier. Fred Warner up next. And here's where things get really difficult, because some people might argue Fred Warner is just as good as these other middle linebackers. And honestly, if they make that argument, can I even say they're wrong? 6'3", 93 speed, 94 acceleration, 88 change direction, good block shed, good zone coverage? No, you can't. Fred Warner is just as good as those other guys. And so we might have to move some of those guys down because, again, Fred Warner with that 93 speed at 6'3" with good block shed, solid change direction, and zone coverage is an absolute stud. S tier for Fred Warner. Singletary stinks. I don't care that he's a 95 overall. This card is dog water. 90 speed, 91 acceleration, good change direction. Look at the block shed and his power move, finesse move ratings. He's got a 70 block shed. He is 6 foot tall. Get this card off my screen. He is horrible on the field. Bruner up next, again from Washington. No idea what this card does provide on the field right now. So look at him, 90 speed, 6'2", 91 acceleration, good change direction, good in zone coverage. I wish his block shed was higher though. Not gonna get after the quarterback. The 84 block shed's a killer though. If somebody runs the football and he is your middle linebacker, you're probably going to struggle quite a bit. Lander Barton, I'm on record for really not hyping this card up much at all. But as I look at him again, the real only complaint that I have is that block shed. The 81 block shed for a middle linebacker just needs to be higher. His tackling's good, his zone coverage is good, he's 6'4", speed is fine, the acceleration is fine as well. The change direction's low, and the block shed's low. I think Barton deserves to probably be at B tier, but again, those stats do hold the card back. Roquan Smith up next. I think Roquan Smith is really solid, but he's been in the game out for a while. So obviously with the 92 speed, 93 acceleration, 92 zone coverage, like those stats are really solid. Combine that with the fact that he's got a 91 block shed, which is solid as well. Roquan Smith does do a lot of positive things on the field. I do wish his change of direction was higher, and I wish he was a little bit taller. Those are my two complaints for Roquan Smith, who I think does deserve to be in that A tier though. Munden Jr. up next. I'm not a big Munden Jr. fan. I'm not. And again, it just comes down to complete linebackers. I want complete linebackers. If you've got a low block shed, to me, it's just not great. Again, people like to pound the rock now. Reggie Bush is in the game. Lots of people like to run the ball. Outside of that, I love the card. He does no wrong. So as long as you don't care about the block shed, you might really like Munden Jr. For me, that is definitely a big red flag, though, as he does come in here at that D tier. You could put him higher, but I think that's where he belongs. 93 Warner. The problem with 93 Warner is he's just quite a bit worse than the other Warner. So he's a -2 with the speed. The change direction goes down. He's still fine, though. Honestly, I'd still take this Warner over Munden Jr., so I'm going to throw him at C tier. Don't think he's that bad whatsoever. Obiezer up next. I really like this card. As far as outside linebackers are concerned, I think he's got one of the fastest. Good change direction, good block shed, good zone coverage. There's really no flaws in this card at the left outside linebacker position, honestly. As time goes on, I'm really growing to appreciate what this card does for people on the field. And if you're running him, you've got a stud at that outside linebacker position. Kip Lewis, another card that honestly, I actually like stat-wise. I like complete cards. Kip Lewis is complete. Gets after the quarterback, good block shed, good in zone coverage, good change direction, good speed. The only complaint I have is that he's 6'1". Everything else is fine. Is he as good as Obiezer? I don't think quite as good. Obiezer is just a little bit taller. But Kip Lewis is really, really solid in this game, deserving of that B tier. Andrew Simpson up next, I do believe is his name. I don't know where to go with him. I don't love him. 90 speed is fine. Change direction's okay. Block shed is solid. There's just not a lot of flaws. But are you taking him over Kip Lewis? Like, that's really the question that I would ask right now. And honestly, as I'm recording this, I don't know. Simpson is only 6 foot tall. Again, that 90 speed isn't obviously as good as Kip Lewis's. So it's tough. It's tough because, again, you're comparing two cards that I don't hate. I do think Simpson's better than Grayson Howard. I'm going to throw him B tier, but probably the lower end of that B tier. More up next from Kansas State. A lot of you guys are probably like, who? Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Austin Moore, 88 speed, 92 acceleration. Good power moves, but at the right outside linebacker position, like, who really cares? Block shed's okay. This card stinks. Honestly, I don't like this card whatsoever. You're going F tier. Longwell up next. I think when I've looked at Longwell in the past, I haven't been a massive fan of him. 91 speed, 94 acceleration, good block shed. But, like, he's a run stopper, and that's it. His change direction's not great. His zone coverage isn't great. I mean, it's not worthless, but it's just not great. 6'1". I think C tier because, you know, he's not that bad. Fields up next, 93 overall card here to plug in to talk about. He's got 88 speed, 90 acceleration, 88 change direction, gets after the quarterback, good block shed, good in zone coverage. Only flaw is that he's only, you know, 6 feet tall. Outside of that, I like this card. I like this card a lot. Kobe Fields can play. Like, where are the flaws? C tier, yes, I wish you were taller, but everything else, you do. Jake Golday up next. I don't know, man. What are we doing on the field? 90 speed, 92 acceleration. Block shed's okay. Finesse moves is okay. 6'4" is nice, but his zone coverage stinks. I honestly am taking Fields over Golday. I know some people might not like that. Some people might not agree, but that's where I'm at. Hosman up next. He's been out a while from Michigan. I don't necessarily hate him. 91 speed, 6'2". Good enough block shed. Zone coverage okay. Change direction okay. He's just okay, D tier. Jones up next, Matt Jones. I think he is the epitome of an average middle linebacker in this game. When he came out, I was like, well, I mean, he's fine. He is a complete card, though. And that's something I definitely do respect. 6'3". Do wish he was faster for sure. But change direction's good. Block shed's okay. Zone coverage is okay. To me, is he better than 93 Fred Warner, though? I'm going to go C tier. I wish he was faster. Van Noy up next. And this might pain me to do, but I just don't know at this stage if he can be S tier. 92 speed, 93 acceleration. No, he's still S tier. I wish the block shed on the card was slightly higher, but you cannot tell me that this card does not deserve to be an S tier. I mean, let's be realistic here. 6'3", all of these near perfect stats. I gotta go S tier. I have to. The card is a beast. Lander Barton, 92 overall. What in the world? I didn't even know we had this card. To be honest with you guys. Let's see what the 92 overall Lander Barton gets into. 90 speed, 89 acceleration, solid change direction, solid block shed, and good in zone coverage. Wait, I'm confused here. Why do we got a 96 Lander Barton with 80 change direction and an 81 block shed, and this Lander Barton is way higher? What is going on in this game? This game makes no sense to me. Honestly, like, the only thing saving this 96 Lander Barton is the fact that he's got really good speed and really good acceleration. But I'm telling y'all right now, like, that makes me mad that we've got a 96 Lander Barton with some of those stats. Like, what are we doing? Power Echoes was good for a time. It's just that time has came, that time has went. Like, to me, I think he's like another kind of Matt Jones type of card where he's good at like nearly everything on the court or on the field. Sorry if I do that again. It's you know, 2K to college football. I make mistakes. But at the end of the day, I don't think Power Echoes is any better than Matt Jones. I'm going to go C tier. Paul Poslunsky up next. I used the card for a while. I actually did. He was my middle linebacker for a while. But again, his time has came, his time has went. I actually still don't hate the card, but the change direction stinks. I guess, I mean, you can argue B tier, I think, but I don't necessarily think the card is perfect at this stage. Danny Stutzman is still one of the best middle linebackers in the game. I'll debate, and again, I've got Danny Stutzman. I'm trying to, you know, start running other people, but I'll argue I have more trouble facing Danny Stutzman than any other middle linebacker in the game. He's S tier. I don't care. Luke Kuechly at this stage, D tier. Again, I'm going to try to get through some of these cards a little quicker. Khalil Mack, not horrible, but the Legends Khalil Mack isn't that great. C tier. Taylor up next. It's just tough because a lot of these cards I've got to look up because again, I have no idea what Shea Taylor gets into. 84 speed, F tier. Daugherty at this stage, D tier. Jaheim Thomas, D tier. Katzenmoyer, I've used the card, D tier. Brown up next, again, another card that I have no idea. And it sounds bad that I don't, but Chavez Brown, 89 speed, 86 acceleration, change direction's okay, block shed's okay. I mean, B tier, or D tier, he's fine, not great. Kyle Lewis, I've used the card a little bit. Don't like him, D tier. Micah Parsons, 95 overall, is one of your better outside linebackers in the entire game. He's got to go S tier. He's just got to. I mean, yeah, you could argue, that Van Noy is just as good, and I think Van Noy is just as good. But if you look at the stats of Micah Parsons, he just simply has to go at that S tier. I mean, you just can't put him anywhere else. Kennard at this stage still is going to get after the quarterback incredibly well. He's just not as complete as we need at this stage to be any higher than D tier. Jacob Rodriguez, F tier at this stage. Manti Te'o, D tier. Was good for his time. That time is over with. Lawson up next, 95 overall Lawson. Let's look at this card because, again, not a card I've used or, seen a bunch about. So let's see what Deontay Lawson gets into. 6'2", decent speed, good change of direction, good zone coverage. He's not bad. I think A tier is the right spot for him. Again, he's not bad. He definitely is a card you can use, but I do think A tier is as high as I can go. Raziek up next from Illinois. Let's see what this card gets into because, again, not a card I've used. 90 speed, 88 acceleration. The change direction stinks. At 6'1", you're in F tier. You stink. Walker up next. I mean, pretty similar to Kennard. Both guys are going to get after the quarterback really well. D tier at this stage. All up next, another card that I probably briefly went through in a Worth It video, and that's it. 88 speed, 92 acceleration. What are up with all of these cards just not being able to, move or not being able to cover? Like, these cards can't cover at all. 79 change direction, 72 zone coverage. You're F tier. 92 Van Noy, D tier. Not the worst, not the best. Powell, I actually don't mind this 92 Powell. A weird card, kind of. But I don't mind him. Why? He's super tall, 6'5", good speed, good acceleration, change direction, zone coverage stinks. Block shed's not that high, but I'm going to go D tier because of that height. Next up, Hall. I've been running Miles Hall recently. I picked the card up. I actually really like his block shed. I do believe his block shed's pretty good at a 94. But the one thing I'm noticing is even compared to Danny Stutzman, that's what I'm saying. Miles Hall compared to Danny Stutzman is, I just wish Miles Hall was a little bit taller. The 6'1" height isn't great. Good change of direction, good speed acceleration, good block shed. I do think he's A tier though. I do. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's where I've got Miles Hall right now. I think he's close to S tier though. But it's just me comparing him to Stutzman. I don't think he is. Rogers up next. And it's just I've got to look this card up. I really don't, care about Chris Rogers. He's got 84 speed, F tier. Schwarzinger up next. I do believe is how you pronounce his name. I mean, he is easy S tier. He is, in my opinion, the best middle linebacker in the game right now. I mean, you want to argue somebody else? Tell me. Tell me how somebody else is better than this card. He is 6'2". Sure, I wish he was, 6'4" like Stutzman. But he's got 95 zone coverage, 90 change direction, 91 block shed, 94 speed acceleration. He is, or Schwarzinger, I think is how you pronounce his name. He is an S tier, the best middle linebacker in the game right now. Wahlberg up next. I'm just going to throw him at F tier. Cody Simon. I actually don't think Simon is that bad. Because when I did go over cards, 90 speed acceleration, good change direction, good zone coverage. I actually don't think this card's that bad. I'm going to go D tier with him. Not great, but don't think he's bad. Jack Kaiser is still S tier. I don't care. I think he is just as good as Parsons, just as good as Van Noy. The card's a beast. Scooby Wright, C tier. He's fine. Not great. Jalen McLeod stinks, F tier. Weatherspoon, here's the tough part. When I look at Sean Weatherspoon, I don't think the card is great whatsoever. I just don't, he's got 93 speed, that's fantastic. 92 acceleration, decent change direction, decent in zone coverage, decent block shed, decent in getting after quarterback at 6'2". But my thing is this. Is Sean Weatherspoon better than Jack Kaiser, Micah Parsons, or Van Noy? I don't think he's any better than those guys. I think he probably is S tier, but I'm telling you right now, I think those guys are just as good, if not better. So I don't think Weatherspoon is worth his price, although I got to go S tier. This Fred Warner, I mean, D tier, he's fine though. Taggart, I have no idea on. I got to look this card up because, again, I have absolutely no idea. 89 speed, 88 acceleration, 6'1". I mean, his block shed's good. His zone coverage is a little low. I think C tier is probably the right tier for him. Again, not worthless, not bad, but is he, the elite of the elite at this stage? No. Vic Beasley is still the elite of the elite. I got to throw him at S tier because if you're looking for an outside linebacker to get after the quarterback, Vic Beasley is probably your option. I mean, I think I've got to go S tier just because of that. You could argue A tier at this stage, though, but I am going to go S tier just because of his ability to rush the passer at this stage. Next up, the other Walker, again, from Indiana. I have no idea. where this card stands. I no idea. Jalen Walker, 90 speed, 91 acceleration, good change direction, solid block shed. I actually like this card. He is still D tier, but I actually really do not mind the card. Mascarius up next. I do believe that's how you pronounce his name. I actually think this card is decent. 90 speed, 93 acceleration, decent change direction, good block shed, good zone, 6 feet tall. That's the only problem with him is he's 6 feet tall, but I don't mind him. D tier, but he's actually pretty solid. 96 Khalil Mack. And this is the thing, though. We've seen all of these outside linebackers, but how do you separate them? Khalil Mack's block shed's a 97. Gonna get after the quarterback as well as anybody else. He's the reason Vic Beasley's getting moved down. I mean, Khalil Mack's better than Vic Beasley. He just is. Penn the third up next, I should say. See what this card gets into and go on from there. Greg Penn, 91 speed, 90 acceleration, good change direction, good in zone. I'm throwing Greg Penn the third at C tier. I don't care. The card's a beast. Phoenix Jackson up next. I don't think this card is very good, but let's take a look at what he does do for you on the field. 90 speed. Change direction's not good. 6 feet tall. If he was a little bit taller, he'd be a little bit better, but F tier. Jenkins up next from Virginia Tech. Let's see what he gets into. 88 speed. Wish he was a little bit taller. Zone coverage a little bit low. I mean, D tier probably is right for him. Not great. Not worthless. Gaber up next. B tier. Look, for Gaber, he's still going to get after the quarterback. Like, that is the one thing about this card that on the field he's going to do. 91 speed, 95 acceleration, good block shed, and he's got that 95 power moves. He's going to get after the quarterback. Block shed's okay. Dropping into coverage is not the worst. To me, he's B tier, though. He's not the elite of the elite. Elad up next. I like Elad. I'm going B tier with the card, and nobody is going to convince me otherwise. 92 speed, good acceleration, zone coverage is good, 6'1", good enough block shed. He's B tier. No, he's not A tier. Elad is B tier. Hawkize up next. I don't think this card is too great. Again, we'll break it down for you guys. 90 speed, 90 acceleration, good change direction, decent enough in good zone coverage, 6'1", 95 block shed, sure. B tier, but that's as high as I can go. Last but certainly not least, Martinez, 93 overall card from, where is this? New Mexico State. Looks like New Mexico State here. 6'2", 90 speed, 90 acceleration, good change direction, decent enough block shed, decent enough in zone coverage, good power moves, good finesse moves. He's not bad. He's C tier. I don't mind Martinez whatsoever. That's going to wrap it up for our linebacker tier list. Took me a while to do because, again, I don't know a lot of these, 92, 93 overall cards. That's going to really be it. Hopefully, you guys got some cards that are at least in C tier. If you got like a 93 overall Fred Warner, a 93 overall Martinez, you are probably in good shape. I do really like Elad for his price. Same thing with Obiezer. But that's going to wrap it up for our video. Drop a like on it. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.